Hello everyone, today we're going to be solving Pascal's triangle, and it says given an integer num rows, return return the first num rows of Pascal's triangle. Then says from Pascal's triangle each number is the sum of two numbers above it as shown. So in this problem you see something, right? The first row is 1. The second row is 1 1. The third row is 1 plus 1, which is 2 in an array. So 2 is in the middle. And so as we keep on going, we see that the next row will be 1 plus 2, which is 3. 2 plus 1, which is 3. So 1, 3, 3. Same way it is here in the diagram, as you can see. 1, 3, 3, 1. Because we're adding it, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. Then 2 plus 1 is 3. Then 1. So now the way when you look at this problem, it's not that hard to understand what Leetcode wants us to do, right? So to start solving this problem, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assume a 0 at the beginning and end of the row, and I'm going to use 2 pointers to solve this problem. So I'm just going to put my 2 pointers here. My pointers may look like exclamation marks, but just telling you so you can get the point. So I'm going to have 2 pointers here. So the first pointer is going to be 0. 0 plus 1 is going to be 1. So I'm going to put my 1 in the first array. Then I'm going to move these pointers to the second part. 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. So I'm going to put 2 here. Then the next one is going to be 1. So 2 plus 1 is going to so 1 is going to be at the end of here, right? And this is going to be 0. Now let's look at the second one so that we can really understand my approach towards solving this solution. Okay, so we have 2 pointers in here. Let's just put the 2 pointers there first. So 0 plus 1 is going to give us 1. That's why we have 1 here. Then 1 plus 2 is going to give us 3. That's why we have 3 here. Then 2 plus 1 is going to give us 3. That's why we have 3 here. Then, 1 plus 0 will give us 1. That's why we have 1 here. So as you can see, this pointer approach and thinking that it's assuming that the first element we have here is 0, like we have a 0 there, will help us to solve this, because 0 plus 1 1. I'll just go over it one more time. 1 plus 2 3, 2 plus 1 3, and 1 plus 0 is 1. Okay, and then after this we want to continue going, but we can't because it's out of bounds, so we stop it. So the current complexity of this is going to be O of n squared, where n is the number of rows. So if I want to start solving this problem now, first of all I have to have an array. We know that it's going to be an arrays inside arrays, so I'm going to have an array called res, or let's call it results, because I want to be different. We have an array called results, and the first element usually in this problem is 1. So I'm going to put 1 there. Then I'm going to have a for loop. And what I want to do is that I want to build up the other rows through this for loop. So it's going to be for I in range, for I in range, sorry, I'm excited, num rows minus 1. Okay, what we're going to have, so I'm going to have 2 for loops. I'm going to have a for loop I and a for loop j. So what j is going to be doing for me is that's what I'm going to be using to append values to my res array. So I'm going to put the second for loop there. So I will say for j in range. So if you remember, I want to get my res array, the value before my res array, which is wait. So remember I said I wanted to add 0 before and after the res values because I just want to assume I have it there. So I'm going to create a temporary a temporary array which kind of does that for me. So I'm also supposed to set 0 here. 0 plus res minus 1, so everything from backwards, plus 0. Thank God for Python, right? It allows me to add 0 to the end and the beginning of the old row. So 0 here too. Now for this my second for loop, I'm going to this is going to be in range the length of my result array, the previous result array that I had there. The length of the previous result array that I had there. So length of res minus 1. And this is not meant to be square brackets. In Python, the syntax is wrong, so I'm just going to cancel this a bit. So the length of my previous res array minus 1. Okay, then plus 1, right? Plus the length of my previous row, so plus 1 over here, and then is this correct? Let me look at my syntax, my spacing. Is my code looking rough? I don't think so. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an array for row. What this is going to do is every time I want to add a new row with my values, I'm going to use the array. So I'm going to append, I'm going to add my added values. Okay, I'm going to add the values that I've summed up before. Let me put it like that. So I'm going to append my values that I'm summing up. So temp, so I'm using the temporary array right now. Temp j plus temp j plus 1. Okay, then after that I'm going to append it to my row. So I'm going to append my result array to my row because I want it to look in this format, right? This, so we see there's a bracket here, another bracket here, like if you look at the outputs, you can see. So I'm appending rows to my result array. So it's going to be results dot append row, and the final thing that I'm going to return, which is meant to be outside my for loop, okay, is I'm going to return res. So in this section, you see how it is. I'm just going to reiterate what I did. So I started with my result array. I kept 1 inside simply because that's the format of the question, right? The first value you have inside is 1, so I kept an array of 1 inside. Now I am looping through everything in num rows, okay, looping through everything in num rows, and then I'm also using j. I'm going to create a second for loop which is going to loop through everything and append the sum of the last 2 values into a new row. Okay, the temp array here is because of what I explained here, right? I'm assuming there's a 0 here, so when it's 0 plus 1 it will be 1, when it's 0 plus 2 it will be 3, when it's 2 plus 1 it will be 3. Okay, so I'm just using my 2 pointers here to append everything together, and this is meant to be results. So this is how I solve this problem. Let's run it. Okay, invalid syntax. Okay, I can see that I didn't put a closing brackets, right? Let me see. Res, the length of res, the bracket is meant to be after here. Okay, now the syntax should not be invalid, hopefully. And it's meant to be results, not res. Sorry. Results. Let's run that. no syntax error. So let's try to submit that. And also, before you submit anything, make sure you remove all your comments, because that can be annoying to some people.